When the life of husband and father Alex Novak starts spiraling because his marriage is falling apart, he enters a phase of self-reflection when he stumbles into the world of stand-up comedy and finds an unexpected sanctuary within it. Actor and comedian Will Arnett stars in the role of Alex Novak in a film he co-wrote with friend and fellow actor Bradley Cooper, who also stars in the film as well as directs it. Together they craft the world of a man in an unconventional midlife crisis, facing the challenges being thrown at him in the comedy drama Is This Thing On?
$15 cover.
To get a drink?
Hey.
Yeah.
How come she didn't have to pay $15?
She signed up for the open mic.
Look at me. I kind of look like the guy who tells you the Ferris wheel doesn't work at the amusement park.
I gotta date better men. My ex wouldn't let me touch his Magic the Gathering cards.
I'm gonna shake it up tonight. So let's put your hands together for Alex Novak.
Will Arnett was inspired to write this film by the true life story of famous British comedian John Bishop, who also had an unexpected start in stand-up. From the intimidating world of the comedy club circuit to the camaraderie among the community, the character of Alex Novak is a reflection of finding solidarity in unexpected places, especially in times of crisis, such as the one Alex faces with his wife Tess as they confront the reality of divorce.
Judita DaSilva, Arise Play Nigeria. A lot of people say that comedy is one of the last places you can rely on to truly have unfiltered honesty. So was that part of the attraction for you to use comedy as a vehicle for this examination of a man and his marriage and his family and friendships?
Yeah, that's an interesting point. I think it is. I think when I first heard this story, that the inspiration for this story, certainly from John Bishop, the great comedian out of the UK, when he told me about his experience of doing stand-up and what it did for him when he was going through a difficult time in his life, and he was telling me about it, he never actually sort of said to me, oh, it was transformative, but I could see by the way he talked about it that it obviously was, and it got him closer back to being and understanding who he was as a person, and that really spoke to me. I loved that idea that that through comedy he was able to kind of almost speak his own emotional truth for the first time. And there was something about that that really stuck with me. And I love that idea that whether it's certainly comedy, and I think that maybe a lot of art is a way that one can express themselves and really start to really connect with how they're feeling. And I love that. And that has probably been my experience to a certain degree, but I never was able to articulate it that way until I heard his story. And that really made me think, oh, I think I need to write this. I think that this needs to be something that can be told, because I think people can relate to that.
Yeah. And just looking at the actual comedy, when I was watching it, so your character, Alex, stumbles into the profession, and his routine is based on commenting on his life and his struggles in his marriage. And then I just thought to myself that we live in this era that even though comedy is everything from slapstick to satire, the current era is very much about social commentary and commentating on life when you think of pioneers like Dave Chappelle. So do you feel in a roundabout way, Is This On is very of the era?
Yeah, that's also a really good point. It might be. I think, yeah, we live in a time, certainly, as you say, where and maybe comedy has always been that, but never more than now. We've been kind of building to this point. Is that kind of what you're? I think you're right. Yeah, and I think, and sometimes it's not always pretty. Sometimes it's hard to hear. And certainly in that way, in a sort of microcosmic way for Alex, it's not necessarily pretty. The things that come out are maybe hard to say, but they are the truth. And it's kind of like a searching for that ultimate truth. Yeah, it kind of goes back to your earlier point. Like comedy is the ultimate truth teller in that way. And we can kind of dress it up. And it maybe makes it a easier pill to swallow a little bit if we can make it humorous. You know,
Yeah.
it doesn't have to be so pointed and so painful.
I think I'm getting a divorce. What tipped me off was that I'm living in an apartment on my own, and my wife and kids don't live there. That was probably the biggest clue.
Oscar winner Laura Dern plays Alex's wife, Tess Novak, a woman who is dealing with her own midlife crisis as a wife and mother who sacrificed her own personal dreams and passions for marriage and family, and now questions if her choices were the best for herself or for everyone else. And as she realizes her marriage has broken down over time, she has to confront the problems that existed all along, but they ignored, and what they need to do now that they cannot ignore them anymore.
Now, when a woman chooses marriage and children over career, it's seen as right and good and noble. But then women are shamed out of ever then asking the question, was the sacrifice worth it? But your character in this film actually gets to confront that question. So do you think that films like this film and films like it offer an avenue for people to have the kinds of conversations that we would be otherwise too embarrassed to have?
Thank you so much for your question. I haven't had it, and I'm really grateful for it, because I think without talking about it directly, the movie really explores shame in relationship on both sides. And I felt so proud as an actress, as a female, to get to talk about the guilt that comes with feeling that we're not allowed to feel like it's not enough. And for men, they don't, culturally, they don't even have to question it. It's not part of their makeup. For us, it's embedded in us. Even our generation who've been very blessed to know we are not only entitled to be in the workplace needs us, and our art needs us. And isn't that great? There is a cellular historical shame that comes with leaving the child, leaving the family, not making the husband the number one priority. And this character is saying it wasn't enough. Since I was 11, having this passion, having this skill, and I was unfulfilled in some areas. And she feels freed, I think, from admitting it to her partner, the one person she felt she couldn't admit it to. It should be the person we most admit it to. So I'm fascinated. I could talk forever about it. So thank you for the question. I'm excited to play a character and hope there are more that continue to look at this question for women in so many different ways.
While Alex and Tess face their marriage troubles, their friends are a great source of support, for Tess particularly Christine, played by singer and actress Andra Day, the Golden Globe winner for her portrayal of the iconic singer Billie Holiday in biographical drama The United States versus Billie Holiday. Christine's no-nonsense attitude is played with humor and contrast to her struggling actor of a husband, Arnie, played by actor-director Bradley Cooper, and together they are an alternative look at another married couple facing their own problems within their relationship.
The way you play Christine in this film, she feels like that ride or die friend that sometimes rides a little too hard, so you kind of have to rein her in. But the way you do it, it's like it's got this balance where it always feels endearing and never off-putting. So how did you find the measure in the performance to be able to get that?
Well, I think that, first of all, thank you for, acknowledging that in her character. First of all, I will credit just the great writing, right? Will Arnett, Mark Chappell, Bradley Cooper, and how it was shot, and the conversations that Bradley and I had about her, right? I think the reason that her truth feels endearing and feels like truth is because it's not judgment. It's actually just truth, right? So she will be as hard on herself as she is on other people. And I think that's, one of the scenes that I love of on the sofa and how she's kind of unleashing on Will's character, Alex. What I love about that is she's clear that like, I really hate you because I hate myself. And what she's saying is that like, I don't actually despise you. And I'm just disappointed because you realize in that moment, what she's saying is that I deeply admire you. You know what I mean? I've always been inspired by you. I admire you. And she's just saying, I am disappointed with myself. I'm scared that we'll become the same. So that's what I love is you realize her truth as hard as it can be, comes from a place of love and comes from a place where she's not just honest with other people, but she's also honest with herself. And that's what makes it really admirable, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And just springing off that, it's the dynamic of Christine and Alex. It feels like they're two sides of the same coin because they're both going through marriage troubles, but Christine naturally has the blunt honesty that Will finds when only on stage when he's doing his comedy routine.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, it's kind of, like you said, even in the film, that she sees herself in him. So I wondered that kind of nuance between you, was that something you worked on together? Was it strictly the script, or is it something that developmentally came out as you were making the film?
I think yes, it was absolutely a part of the foundational script. To a degree, right? But I think, of course, when you come on set and you all come with your real life and you come with your human experiences, and a lot of us, and we spoke about it, we kind of, interestingly, all of us in our lives, we're sort of meeting these characters exactly where they are with our actual personal lives. That was the thing. It was like such a mirror that you just kind of is turned on you, and you're like, oh, yes, so I am internally going through some things that Christine is going through. And then, obviously when you get to set, these people have had a relationship, like Laura and Bradley have known each other for a long time. And likewise, so have Bradley and Will. They've been friends for quite a while. So I'm kind of newly dropped into this experience. So yeah, you have to build that chemistry very quickly through conversation. But I think the big thing that did it was everyone's generosity. We were really willing to live our lives on set as these people to each other. And we were really willing to share, who we are, where we are at in life, and how these characters are impacting us. And so I think that, you just kind of had to show up and do the work, and do the internal research, and then be willing and be present to live the actual lives of these characters. And so that was it was really having that relationship with Will on set was so fun. It's funny, I couldn't tell from day to day whether I wanted to like treat him like an adversary, but then I was like, damn, he's Canadian, he's so nice, you know what I mean? I was like, it's hard, and he's super funny all the time. So but I think it naturally lended itself because we wanted that chemistry, but there's also a natural unfamiliarity simply from being people who don't fully know each other, which I think lended itself to the closeness and the distance that you feel in those two characters,
What is the problem?
I don't know, it's complicated.
You don't have to tell me that.
I guess we just slowly grew away from each other.
You two have always been very different.
And you and Dad are twins?
Your father is an immigrant to this country.
I know that.
And I've always been a woman who wants the taste of the exotic.
Jesus, Mom.
Why are you doing stand-up?
Getting a divorce.
You cheated.
No.
You didn't cheat and you're getting a divorce? Oh, it's some white guy.
And do you say, like, with your acting, do you think that ensemble, if I could ask quickly, like ensemble or more solo driven appeals to you as an actress now as you forge ahead?
Wow, that's a really good, I mean, I would like to say that more solo. No, I'm just kidding. No, to be honest with you, I'm a story person. You know what I mean? Yeah. So like, I really, it just needs to, I'm laughing because I'm in the room with people that I joke with about this all the time. But I think truly at the end of the day, if it's a great story and a great character, then that is what's going to drive me. Because ultimately it's interesting. These characters, I'm in support of the actors in this movie, and it's an ensemble and they're a friend group. But the truth of the matter is you're approaching every character as a solo anyway, because that's how each person we live our lives in relationship. We define ourselves in relationship to other people, but we're really having fully solo experiences. You know what I mean? So it's just, if the script is good, the story is good, if the person is good, then that's what drives me. But yeah.
Thank you very much, though, for talking to us. Really appreciate it.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
Oscar-nominated actor and director Bradley Cooper acts, directs, and co-wrote the film with Will Arnett. As longtime friends in real life, it was a project Bradley had collaborated with Will on for some time before it was finally ready for production. And as art imitates life, Bradley plays the role of Arnie, who is also an actor and also the best friend of Will Arnett's character Alex. As a director, Bradley approached the film in a way that complemented the actors, being an actor himself, and the collaborative process enabled all of them to get the best out of themselves and also the project.
Bradley Cooper directs this, he co-wrote it with you, and he features in it, and you've been friends for a very long time. Did you find that when you work, it's like an odd kind of artistic symbiosis when you have this project? Did your personal and professional perception of Bradley ever bleed into what you did, or could you compartmentalize it while you were doing the project?
Actually, I think because we've been friends for so long, we met when we started working on this. It started to sort of, actually, both of those things, our personal and professional, really started to meld into one. And it allowed us to have a shorthand, and it allowed us to be really honest with each other in this very intense creative environment where we're dealing with these very sort of real issues. That really helped us. And it allowed us to always have honest conversations through the process, through acting, through him as a director and directing me, and sort of, when we're tackling a scene that required a moment to really dig deep emotionally and connect with what Alex was going through, there was never he didn't have to worry about hurting my feelings, because I know that he loves me and that I love him, and that he can be really honest with me in that moment to guide me to that, to help me get to that place so that I can connect emotionally with Alex. In a lot of ways, it actually kind of just became one. And, we've had people ask us, did this process, did it affect your friendship negatively? By no means. If anything, it just brought us closer. We're closer than we've ever been, because we've had this shared, really, really intense emotional experience making this.
Thank you so much for talking to us. And I really did enjoy seeing this side of you as an actor, because I'm used to your comedies. So thank you.
Thank you very much.
I've been doing stand-up. Is it like a hobby? Well, I'm not about to quit my job and go on tour. It's just it's something I look forward to.
Hey, listen, do you mind if I drop them off here for a couple hours?
Don't ambush me like this in front of the boys. You suck.
You suck.
Give it up for me. I'm doing great. I'm paying rent on a shitty apartment and mortgage for a house that I don't even live in anymore.
So I'm the only one who doesn't know about this?
I have goals this year I want to achieve. Do you have goals, Dad?
Oh, of course I do.
And watching the film, I felt like the journey of Alex and Tess is contingent on chemistry, on-screen chemistry, because otherwise that whole thing of you and Will, when you argue and fight and they lash out at each other, but at the same time, we can still feel there's love there. There's still love there. That comes from the intangible, ephemeral elements of acting. So I was wondering, where did you find and build that chemistry from?
You definitely can't act it.
Yeah.
And so, and Bradley knows that, because luckily we had a director who's also an actor. And so the three of us, months before we started, did workshop time and social time and deep read through time to not only create, because this is what I never realized, creating chemistry is having implicit trust. That's sexy. If you trust the other person and they trust you, and you know everything, the stuff you're most embarrassed to reveal, childhood stories, vulnerabilities, then you have each other. You're holding each other in a different way. And so Will and I shared all of that. And we love each other and we know each other. Like we said, we know things about each other we've never told anyone, including husbands and wives. And I think it did create a kind of chemistry that's very unique to this relationship in this movie. So I'm really grateful. And Bradley was an incredible guide to that.
Well, thank you so much for talking with us, Laura, and bravo on the film. It was really great to watch.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Beautiful to talk to you, and thank you for your question.
You knew I was struggling.
You left me alone. I left you alone? You checked out?
I was unhappy in our marriage. I wasn't unhappy with our marriage.
Man, I wish I had a punchline.